Yep, I'm sure you do. But when I say that to the layman person, they have no idea. They just recognize the name Fleer, so it's very impressive. But what I tell people, and I normally make the joke, and it's not going to work here for sure, is, hey, does everybody see me in the camera, the red, orange, and yellow guy? And everybody kind of looks at me and says, yeah. I'm like, that means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now. And it's a big joke with the private. So we're going to go with that. So that's the joke I make.
Still a good joke.
Still good a joke. But it actually makes a point later on. So I'm going to, again, give the whole shtick with this guy. So what I tell people is we're looking for blue and black, and that's the way I have it set up. So again, this being set up for ghost hunting, I also have a blue dot bouncing around the screen. That blue dot shows you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I'm looking for 15...
Put it on David's heart.
It's cold heart. He's saying I'm cold hearted.
I get it, because I hear that joke every night. Once I hand it over, he's beating me to the punch.
Hey, the more you interrupt him, the later we're going. Okay?
Right.
Not necessarily. It just means less places we're going.
Right.
So, all right, so that blue dot. Tonight we're at 78 degrees. So I'm looking for 53 degrees on that blue dot or more, or basically less. So I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops to actually call it anything kind of close to being paranormal. When I say I'm looking for blue and black areas, I'm looking for them to either move or take shape.
So paranormal is cold.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I usually make... Well, my first thing is normally to give the whole crowd, hey, why are we using thermal imaging? I don't have to ask a team of thermographers why we're using thermal imaging. So, but with that, it's a true story. But
I have a question for you, if I can interrupt you.
Oh goodness.
Here we go.
This will be good.
When you're saying you're going to analyze the video data, is the FLIR software part of what we're going to get?
You're going to get this full video back.
Get out of here.
Nerd.
Nerd.
So, back to John, because he's going to be my answer guy.
Taking notes over there?
Come on, that guy too.
Oh, okay.
He's an expert as well.
The biggest engineer tour we ever could have done.
I like it.
Yeah, if we can get that on the
We're going to be here for an hour just to get through the damn
I
equipment.
know.
Go see
I'm the one who's got to rally them all together and get them going. So when you need them to go, I'll just tell me and we'll go.
All right, guys, let's rally up. I want to finish up what you guys already know about. So with this particular camera, when I say looking for things that are blue and black, I want them to move or take shape. When I say take shape, I want heads, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. So again, it's not a matter of hey, we have this tiny little possible blue dot moving across. I want somebody walking towards us that's completely cold, which is exactly why I make that joke that I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right then. So what I normally tell people, and you're already going to know this, is that as great as the FLIR hardware is, I'll give us a brief history of the location, some questions that we can ask the ghosts that are actually here, and then we will spread out, and I do round robins to kind of see what's going on with each specific device that's going on. Obviously, I'm going to talk more about that keyboard device to kind of give them a little bit more thought process on what's going on with it. But I'll usually do with a group this size 1 to 2 round robins, and then we regroup and I give you all the answers to the questions that I kind of handed out. So first off, it's a weird space. I know it's a parking lot, but it used to be something relative to the history of Charleston. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney mansion site. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this space. We're kind of really close to where the back half of the house would have been. Eliza's garden was lined up with the five-tiered restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then Eliza's servants and slave quarters were in the back. So that kind of gives you an idea of the layout of the land. Who the hell were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles that had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which Charles is coming through in the event one of you hears the name Charles by getting a secondary clue to identify which one it is. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for us. I hate politics more than everybody here. We're going to move on. I'm not going to be talking politics at all tonight. That's the only thing I have to bring up, because if I don't do it, they'll do it for me through a spirit box very angrily, just so you guys have that idea. And when I get those over 20 to 25 radio station things, that's usually when it comes from, and it's usually from this location. So with this space, we're going to talk about Eliza. Eliza basically married Charles at a young age. That's the first thing you need to know, and that's according to today's standards. For those of you with communication devices, if you'll ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial days that she came from. Think of today's standards. And I say that because her husband was over double her age when they married. It was a creepy age gap in the 1700s, a creepy age gap now. But anyway, she married Charles because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying, so he's trying to bring all of his children home so he can actually see him one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put and got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to earn a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love, and there is no foul play in this marriage at all. So once the husband dies, it's over. She remains a widow. So again, no poking the bear on the marriage question. This is actually a true love story. she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where we're standing right now. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. If you've been in town for more than an hour, you've seen the word indigo somewhere. I can guarantee it. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. One person's wearing it tonight because that's actually how we still use it. So kudos to you, Phil. Yep.
Kudos, Phil.
Anyway, when she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. And when she learned from them how to make the dye, she moved it to a cash crop plantation. Got a hold of her dad and said, rice plantations are going to shit. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Now, something absolutely unheard of. That's the boring business stuff of Eliza Pinckney. Let's get into the weird stuff because that's why you guys are all here. If I don't give you that basic gist of who this woman was, none of these questions are going to start making sense. So again, I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to screw up names, so correct me. So I know you're another Chris. I'm going to go with that. So Chris, with your particular spirit box, where's the other red spirit box? Who has the red one? Oh, perfect. You're right next to each other. You two are going to have the same set of questions because your spirit boxes work identically. And it looks like you stopped it by putting it in your back pocket.
Oh my God.
It's the first rule.
Nerd.
Hide it. First rule.
Eliza's death. She's really open about talking about it. You can ask her how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, those are 4 major questions that we get answers to on a regular basis. So, Chris and Justin, you guys actually have the same type of spirit boxes as well. So the mansion's not here anymore. What happened to it? When did that happen? It's obviously a big deal because we're looking for a specific date that's coming out of that. And normally if we get the what, we will get 2 or 3 numbers of the when. So kind of keep that in mind. So Stephanie.
Yeah.
And I'm losing Ouija board, guy's name.
Matt.
Thank you.
Hey!
You two need the same piece of information. Eliza, the one we just talked about, is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. Kind of a jerk
Repeat
move.
that again.
Yeah.
Not that there's
He had
anything
2
wrong with
Eliza wives. No.
There was 2 Eliza wives from Charles. The first one dies in January. 5 months later, he marries the one I just told you about.
Okay.
Okay? They both, ironically, have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. You can find out what that maiden name is, and it's shown up on both of your devices in the past. Even the ELP coming out of yours in that consecutive order will justify that you have something going on. But one of those maiden names starting with the letter L has shown up on the workbook before. I'm also going to give you the what happens at the mansion. We're going to start this up to 50 minutes. You're going to hang out with me for a few minutes now, so then spread everybody out.
Yeah, I'm no Z over here.
We'll get you more.
Yeah, we got you. Z. We got
See,
you. Yeah.
so the rest of that, as far as, obviously the marriage questions are a big deal. Stephanie, with your device, it actually will give you numbers as well. So you can ask her how old she was, you can ask how old Charles was, how long they were married. You will get numbers. They may be in numeral format or spelled out.
So when we're asking questions, are we like asking them
Yeah, like
just
she's a-
Yeah,
to,
do I need to ask?
or is it like in our head?
As
or-
we're talking, I
serious,
got Z. You.
serious question.
I just got a U.
Like when we're asking
I
questions.
know, and I'm going to get to that. So as soon as we get Chris back here.
Oh,
Is there
hey,
enough
Chugger.
left?
I got a J.
Chugger, we haven't started yet.
Zuckerberg. Facebook, Meta. Meta, final answer.
So with spirit boxes, that's a very good question. Whatever you're comfortable with. Some people just want to focus on whatever questions I give them. Some people want to ask out loud, and they're not inside. This is not a walkie-talkie to dead people, everybody. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's why we give those earbuds. Some people are uncomfortable with talking to somebody that they can't actually see. So again, it's whatever you want to do. I want you to also keep in mind that with all of the communication devices, keep in mind, everybody's asking questions. On the TV shows, they show you one device at a time, waiting for an answer. Chris might ask something, Stephanie might get the answer. We don't know where it's going to fall, which is why I love doing these, 8 to 11 person groups, because we have a lot of communication devices going on. So baseline for EMF is going to be 2.5 in this location, and then we're going to escalate it. So if you get something above a 2.5, I don't want, if you get a 5 after that, that's your new baseline. I don't want to have a whole notebook full of numbers.
Oh, I'm frequently over 30, usually when you talk about Eliza.
Really?
Dude, I'm rocking.
What was it before
You're
that?
doing that. I'm not saying that that's not.
What was it before that, Garvin?
0?
See?
Oh. Ooh.
You said Eliza went up to 3.6.
From 0?
3.6 or 30?
It was 36 before, but
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
going off the
6.8.
chain. I don't know what's going on over here, though.
Yours is actually the same type of device that his is. So whenever he gets a
Just said
spike,
Eliza
you're probably
with
going to get a
3.5.
letter.
So Eliza's out there? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, go ahead and get yours on YouTube. Start listening in. Yeah, let's start spreading out. I'm going to keep that behind so I can show them how to use that damn thing. Got it. All right, man. Every time he basically has, like these are the same things for devices. His is giving him an actual measurement. What his is doing, yours is every time we don't always get full data, but this is
We asked the question, say,
Why would you do that?
because it scale it back. Because you're going to get a foot. Let me
how
give you
about
an
a
example.
president?
Getting a lot of here. Hold here for a second. Okay? Don't get distracted by what I'm saying. So in a nutshell, this will give us
Older than Washington.
If it's scaling
Yes?
it back.
Okay.
First thing I want to wait a second. We actually had each.
Harrison. Harrison?
Yeah.
Why would I scale it back?
Elijah, the president. Okay. President,
Okay. Fair enough. Run you this thing. Fair enough.
Chris, you got something?
How old was she when she died?
You tell me.
I asked her how old she was when she died. I distinctly heard a DJ say 35, like instantly.
Okay.
Again, I won't be revealing it.
Okay.
That's a
The house, so the garden was back that way, right?
Got a big.
All right.
John's got a little dick.
That way.
Huh? It ain't clicking.
No.
Good for you, brother.
Hell yeah. What up, dog?
Well, no, it's at M.
Oh yeah.
Don't beat me when I do
Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it.
Mine says mama.
Mama.
Can't hear you. These are the spirits. Cubs are up by 3.
Cubs are up by 3.
Like your sisters. You did. Oh, the slave. Are you gonna you banging the slave? Yo. What was his name? What did he do?
Every time we talk about slave dick, we just skyrocket.
All I see is a bunch of goofballs walking around a parking lot.
Right?
That's all.
That's
That's
like this person here in their car. It's like, what the
like, bro.
A bunch of weird, why are there weird honkies walking around
Right.
with cell phones in the parking lot?
They're not actually going anywhere. It's almost like they're walking to that bar.
Anything comes out of yours? That's what you want. I mean, if it's just like white noise, obviously that's not going to be. Yeah, but that's what you want. Remember, it's going to be a voice coming through.
It's going to be the same thing for multiple stations. And man's voice, human's voice.
Doesn't matter.
Could be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Have you heard anything from that?
Richard.
Is he going like backwards? Like,
That was we tried it several times. It's like when obviously it could just be the radio, right? But
What other readings have you got?
What is going on? Holy Jesus, bro.
impressive.
I'll be honest.
It's DMB
DMB.
427.
There's an elephant. I got an elephant. I got an elephant. I got an elephant. But they made it to the surgery because I talked to Mark in this register. Why don't you register the whole thing?
who was your third?
Phil, I don't see shit. No.
So again, it's one of those pieces where if you didn't talk about proximity to me, it was like, oh, that's interesting. But then you told me where, and I was like, oh, that's the Redeemer. That was the the name of the church because it welcomes everybody so that they can come worship. So it wasn't just one denomination or another. It was whoever came in on board and needed to go worship on Sunday, that's where they went. It was the Redeemer. If you go to the front of it, it's a restaurant now. If you go to the front of it, it says the Redeemer in brick on the front of the building. It's still there.
The whole time you were talking, it was bouncing between 2.3 and 8. And it just dropped off.
About the sale.
Everybody out. All right, guys. Come on back over. What letters do we have going here? Take a look at it. Is there anything?
It's going crazy, and
I didn't get shit.
At least I'm only picking up on
There's no like words or anything that we've been. I saw Mama in there once.
Did you?
No, you
Like M-A-M-A?
M-A-M-A.
Were you coming home?
I'm just saying that's the only word that I.
That's a spelled out word. Like that's a big deal. Like any spelled, yeah. If it's spelled out, then that's a big deal.
Is there a history on that? I'd fact check that.
It's still a word.
Do I think it's in like it was within the screen. It wasn't like spelled out clear like that.
Okay, so if it wasn't spelled out consecutively.
Consecutively, no.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
So after you asked who Richard was, I walked the other direction. Within 2 minutes, I heard DJs say distinctly, "Papa says," and then "I'm standing up," and then "My childhood," all from different DJs.
Anybody else?
Preach or no?
What's that?
Don't preach?
What did
No.
you hear, Sean?
DJs, it wasn't song lyrics. DJs said, "Papa says," and then "I'm standing up," and then "My childhood."
When he said Papa, it spiked to 2.9 and 3.3.
Just now when he said it?
Yeah.
Papa?
Anybody else hear anything from their spirit boxes before I explain the EMF detectors a little bit further?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so let me explain what these guys actually do. If you have a video camera and you want to stop it, give your hands a break, by all means, you can do that. So Phil knows. He's like, he's all about it. But anyway, so EMF detectors. Damn it, I'm going to get you guys mixed up.
Go for Chris.
Go for Chris. Always go for Chris.
Good chance.
Anyway, so Chris's device. If I want to put that device behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. So we got all the way up to a 39 in here. That's the same amount that your TV puts out, and that's while it's running. If you're going to stand next to your microwave while that's running, it's going to be about 150 to 170. So it kind of gives you an idea of the measurements of what that guy will do. The highest I've ever seen that go in 11 years of ghost hunting has been here, 214 milligauss. It's like putting your head inside the running microwave. So I'll tell you, we left. The reason why we use that on every investigation, no matter if I have 2 people or 11, is because it's for safety reasons. I have epilepsy. I need to know how much electricity is going on in the air because, again, I can go into a seizure pretty quickly with those kind of levels. So just kind of keep that in mind. So the fact that he was getting all the way up to 39, I'm excited, but the average spike for here is between 18 to 22. So we will get that 5 out of 7 nights a week. I'll be honest, just like I told Chris, I'm surprised that we had anything go above a 10 or 11 simply because we're a pretty rowdy group. That's usually not the way Miss Eliza likes to work. Like, she will normally hide from us, especially when we're doing other things on her property. You guys get my point. This is normally where I get those disembodied voices that will tell you, please just leave us alone, that goes over 13 to 20 different radio stations, and then I have to give a place a break. So again, it's just one of those things where I have to keep an eye on things. With, I promised Eliza I was going to retire this space because we were getting some pretty nasty messages, just so you guys know. But hopefully I won't have to retire it after I go go through your guys' media. But let's kind of go through some of the answers. The only thing I'm truly excited about is we did get the word plants that came up on the word list, and the word house. So hopefully we get the address in there somewhere. That will kind of define it a little bit. So you guys don't know what the address is, which is wonderful. You guys didn't hear any numbers specifically that you guys told me, other than the number 35 that somebody told me. I can't remember who was that. So we did get the number 35. To me, that's not relevant. Oh, actually, it might be. The address here is 235.
It likes that.
So we are at 235 East Bay Street.
5.4. The last 2 times you
Very
said
interesting.
235.
I didn't piece it together until I just said it. This is why we discussed it.
Last 2 times you said 235, it spiked.
So what? What was the
5.3.
How's the word thingy work again?
Listening to the radio station is the same way you are.
Oh,
If
okay.
it recognizes a word out of its dictionary, it puts it on the screen. That's why most of it's going to be bullshit. That is probably our least accurate communicator, other than the Envoy.
Good.
So, but the other 5 to 20% that actually makes sense. So, whenever I break out the tablet, it's just to kind of highlight a few things for you and put all the answers together. This is Eliza Lucas Pinckney. So this is the second wife. Notice I used her maiden name. The first wife was Eliza Lamb Pinckney. Lamb and Lucas were the main names that we were looking for. This wife married Charles at the age of 22, not 35. Felt like something just hit me on the back of the shoulder. But anyway, sorry, that was kind of a jolting thing. But 22, Charles was 45. You can kind of see where that's kind of a creepy age gap in the 1700s for sure. Definitely a creepy age gap now. So, the mansion. I had questions about like what actually happened to it. This is the only photograph of the mansion that we have. This is exactly where you're standing right now. So this is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. If we get the word fire, burning, blaze from any kind of spirit box, we will get 2 or 3 numbers out of the date. Like I said, this happened on December 11th of 61. So we will get 12, 11, 61. And there's some nights where we have all 3 numbers on top of the word fire. So you can see where like that's definitely not a coincidental thing that we would have all 3 digits, because it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. Every tour in town. Are you guys taking any other tours in town, by the way? What does this say? We all talk about some kind of great fire because we've had dozens of them. This is the fire. This is the map of Charleston. This is the fire that took out the mansion and where you're standing. So this literally went from one side of the peninsula all the way to the other. So this is about $5 to $9 million worth of damage. This kind of gives you an idea of how big this fire actually was. So the children, I didn't pass out those questions tonight just because I thought we were a little rowdy and I thought it might piss off Eliza. It's usually the one thing that'll poke the bear. So let me kind of touch on them briefly just to kind of give you a gist of what I look for. Charles, you already know about. There are 4 children grand total. Charles, signer of the Constitution. So the next one I talk about is Thomas. Fought in the Revolutionary War battle, shot in his left leg, and captured by the British. When they released him, he was left on a cane the rest of his days. You can kind of see the terms that I look for when Thomas's name shows up. So left leg, gimp, war, anything along those lines. The next child is one we don't poke the bear, Baby George. This is kind of what will piss off Eliza pretty good. Baby George obviously didn't make it. In June of 1747, he was born and died. We don't know how old he was exactly. Could have been days, could have been weeks. So my guess is he would have been at least a few weeks old, because you wouldn't have named the child back in 1747 unless he was christened. So it would have been a few weeks before they could do that. The weird thing about George is he doesn't have a headstone or a grave. Now, my theory behind that is they would have mummified him and kept him right here in the hall, waiting for the mother to pass away so he could be buried with her. So it's kind of a creepy thought all on its own to have a mummy baby in the middle of your living room. But anyway, it's getting to even more weird when we talk about Eliza. One more child. Her name is Harriet. She's the only daughter. She marries Daniel Horry. Horry County is Myrtle Beach, 2.5 hours north of here. That gives you an idea of where she lived. We don't hear from Harriet very often. So when we do, we will get terms like letter, quill, ink, paper. Wouldn't have been a 2.5 hour car ride for Eliza. Lots of letter writing instead. Eliza's death. So 2 of you actually had those questions. Eliza was 70 years old when she passed away. Damn. That was 1793. Yes, very long time for her to be alive, by the way. So she was going to Philadelphia getting treatments, whatever they thought she had. It turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what breast cancer was in 1793. They're going based off her medical records. So she died in Philly, she's buried in Philly. This should raise 2 questions in the back of your brain. First one is Baby George. If my theory is true, which by the way, don't go home and Google mummied baby and not expect a phone call from the government, they would have transported Baby George from here all the way to Philadelphia. Like, that's a long trek. You guys are old enough to remember the game Oregon Trail. Somebody's going to get dysentery. That's a long time to get up there. The other thing is if she's up there, what the hell are we doing here in the middle of a parking lot? People don't hang out near their graves. I know the name of your tour is Stories in the Cemetery, but that's because Charleston's one giant cemetery. Nobody like stares at their headstone when they're gone, and you're not going to do it either. You're going to go to your mansions 400 miles away, which is exactly why we're standing in the middle of an empty parking lot and having cars with their headlights keep an eye on us. So again, people watch out of like what the hell's going on over here. That's why I kind of like to keep this one brief. Anybody want to take a guess who the president was besides Chris, because he already knows? And Phil?
John Adams.
No, it was not Adams. Good try though. All right, it's a good thing you guys can't answer. Normally when we get over here, I tell you I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. And I do that on purpose to subliminally put George Washington in the back of all of your brains. You guys didn't give me that opportunity tonight because we were all chit-chatting along as we moved in. So it was George Washington. And I wait to see who's going to tell me George Washington as I'm doing my round robin to see what's going on with your devices. Because if it was a person with a spirit box, I take their spirit box because all they're going to do is repeat all the things that I'm going to be saying. So the fact that we didn't get a chance to do that test on you guys tonight, we did figure out, he did ask who the president was, and he kept hearing the number 1 over and over and over again. So George Washington is a long spiel to come out, and especially a weird thing to hear on the radio, but that is exactly how I learned about it. George Washington, the phrase came up twice in a single week while we were in this location. So it was a matter of like, I had to learn like, what the hell's going on with George Washington and the Pinkies. So I dove into it, lo and behold, he was a pallbearer at her funeral, at his own request. So, again, the Indigo actually helped get our country started, so it's a very big deal for him.
Okay.
So, now that you guys are all quiet, wow, this is like, once I start talking history, you guys really settle down. Here's what the next base is going to look like. We're going to be going to an alley. Those of you with video recorders or cameras, you're not going to be recording until we get into the alley, but you're also going to be very discreet. Other tours may be in there because it is a staple for Charleston. We are ghost hunting, which means we're also going to be looking for bleed over. We're not going to spread out like what we did in here. What we're going to do is we're going to look for the bleed over. We could have gotten Pinckney Mansion stuff over by Big John's and Big John shit over here. That's bleed over. Even though they're from different centuries, I see it on a regular basis. We're going to go inside Philadelphia Alley, stir some shit up, and then we're going to go on to the next base in hopes that we get things from both locations where we can actually spread out. Those of you with spirit boxes, even the Justin with yours,
yeah.
So even with yours, I do want you listening along the way. And then, of course, with yours, you're going to have to mute it once we get into the alley because, again, there might be other tours in there. We don't want to disturb anybody. Video cameras, you're in a perfect mode. So if there are other people in there, you're going to hit that record button and hold it just like that. That way we can actually get the footage. With everybody else, it's the belly shot. You guys got it. So the two of you, just keep it nice and low.
Feel you're good.
Yep, and you're really good.
My belly. My belly level, dude.
Oh, it has spikes from the other side.
EMF in that location, by the
13.
way. 32. You heard 13?
Yeah.
You said 13 and went to 32.
What were some of the other spikes that you had?
On my meter?
Yeah.
42, 41, and 18. I'm back to zero.
Back to zero. That's why they call it ghost hunting.
And I have male sultry singers.
Male sultry singers. Weren't you guys just listening to karaoke?
That's us. That's us.
So EMF detection, both devices. Ignore your readings along the way. The parking meters will make it go off. Those do not fall on the road out. Once we get inside, the baseline is going to be 7 because we will have lampposts pretty close by because it's an alley. So kind of keep that in mind. It'll be anything above a 7. All right, we ready to go learn about dueling?
Let's go.
All right, let's see what we can do. Get those beer boxes cranked.
I'm not sweating anymore.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Feels great right now.
Yeah, it does.
This is warmer than the conference room.
I think the buzz is wearing off.
You guys further from you.
Anything about the market in particular?
In 10, 15. When is the market open? This is like supposedly a market full of all sorts of stuff, but I don't know when time is open. They're back. They're back.
Usually weekend. There's a bar right here was the first bar I got thrown out. Got thrown out all day down there. Yeah, sitting right there. Pretty sure it was a small car.
Friday night at night.
Well, it turns out he also was the Baptist.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Oh god.
No, it wasn't. Oh good. Are you sure? Did you check on the camera?
I didn't. Needed the infrared one. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it red or blue?
Right. I really don't know what this is.
He seems not smart. After he's super old enough to go into the
Right.
Which is probably going to be listening to our conversation. Back again.
Careful there.
Ooh, something.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, mute it. What have we heard on our spirit boxes? What do we got going on?
I heard brother and David. I heard it twice.
David. This guy David, he keeps popping up in like random spots. I can't find any tie to him, and I don't think I've ever had a tie to him here. So I've had him at the next spot and at the Distinct Mansion. I don't know who the hell he is, but I'm gonna definitely write it down so I know to look into it here. Anybody else got anything? Nobody heard any words at all? Stephanie, you got anything on your word list in the last couple words?
Tune King Faith.
When did you get King?
Just right now.
Just now.
Cain?
King.
King.
As we were walking down the street.
And I'm sorry, it was David and what else?
Brother.
King David.
And his brother.
And his brother.
Well, do we get any letters going on with yours yet, Matt?
No, it's close to BLT, but then a Q in there.
So go ahead and give us a full reset on that. So that's the
How do I do? You
that's the
wanna do
red
that?
knot. Yep, I'll take
Yes,
care
sir.
of it.
Thank
Hold
you.
on.
BLT. Somebody hungry.
King David was so hungry.
All right, so those of you with cameras, be discreet, but let's go ahead and get some footage in here for sure. But yeah, you already know it, and I love it. So, but this is Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Dual. Hello. Excuse us, guys. You good? Come on through, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You good?
He was blue. He was blue. Okay.
Blue's Clues. UBS and John?
Oh yeah.
Competition.
One of the 338.
Oh god.
Low.
More coming. Come on through, ladies. You're good.
Who's coming?
This isn't ours.
No.
Oh, excuse us.
So now you guys see how large the other tours can get. We're actually allowed to go to 20 people. I usually stop mine at 10 to 12. So just so you guys have that idea. So when Chris emailed me, it was a matter of like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So anyway, but when that happens again, we will stop talking, or I will stop talking and just put the season let them pass by. Some of them stop, some of them don't. But anyway, Bueller's Alley. Let's get into that. So again, every tour tells the same story. There was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. So Matt is specifically going to be looking for the letters RI on his device. You actually have two red lights on right now. It looks like you turned on the travel features. So you see this, the red light on the right-hand side?
Yes, sir.
There's a dial below it. Turn it counterclockwise so it turns on. There you go.
The other counter.
The other counter. Now, Dr. Ladd moves down here from Rhode Island, so he's going to be looking for the letters RI specifically, only because it's relevant in one of two ways, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. But not yet. He will. Reset it again. Like that's crazy. Well, it's because you have the tap on. It keeps turning on.
I'm not touching anything.
This dude.
Come on.
Nerd.
Nerd.
Our name would help the thing.
Man. Nerd. Nerd.
It hurt that his hands are really soft.
Nerd.
Sure.
This is all day, every day for you?
Yeah.
They pay us.
I was like, do you guys ever feel bad for me?
I just
That
want
have
you to
to
get
deal
real
with this
data.
all
Like,
the
this is
time?
soft hands. You started.
11.
The girls
Twice.
I can't feel bad. He's still
Who
over
counts on my hands?
I know.
Huh?
Crazy, right?
Oh,
Holy shit.
11 twice.
You got a V?
So hang on just a second, guys. I actually need to explain this stuff a little better. So this is off the beaten path of what we're doing specifically in this alley. I actually recently lost a good friend of mine. She was actually part of the consultant team. She was a psychic. Known her for many years. And her name was Sandy. She was big gung-ho about her birthday. Can anybody guess what her damn birthday was?
11/11.
11/11.
Before we said this.
So, just last week, we actually had 3 things pop up when I was going through the Spirit Box recording, and I didn't realize it until it was all in the same vicinity, because sometimes I'm just writing shit down, and I'm writing stuff down, and then I look at it as a whole to kind of see if, like, were there any clues that match up. We actually had the term book signing, her name show up, and then a few more words go by, and we had the name Carl show up. I actually met Sandy through another psychic friend of mine named Carl at one of my book signings. So again, she just passed less than a month ago. So again, it's been kind of a weird thing, but now we have her birthday showing up, and I want to know if something else is going to pop up specifically about her. So anyway, let's get back to Dr. Ladd. I just wanted to let you guys know why I was kind of like, what else did you hear? Kind of mentality. But anyway, Dr. Ladd, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. He tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. He comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, hence the letters R.I. that Matt is looking for right now. However, we always need a secondary clue so we know which character this actually belongs to. We were getting R.I. all the time on the Red Spirit boxes. That's exactly why I bought the Ouija board device, to see if we can get definitive letters to make sure it wasn't just an anomaly. But anyway, and we have had it several times in the past 6 months that I've had that device. Back to Ralph and the doctor. Ralph tells Dr. Ladd, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy, he's going to try to kill you. So, come with me to 59 Church Street, you can rent a room, you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor took him up on the offer, they became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. So, he became known as the Whistling Doctor because Amanda's moving down so they can get married. It's the 1780s. Men whistled all the time. But what I will tell you is that every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future will have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. There's actually proof of this one, and I'm going to get to that. Anyway, back to Ralph and Dr. Ladd. They go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So, on the way home, after seeing Richard III, they start arguing over the new actress that they were here in town. She's brand new. They've never seen her before. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly and they go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to mentality, kind of, good society kind of mentality, if you get my point. The doctor saw the ad but rebutted with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley and finish this and see what actually comes out of it. Yes, it all started with an actress. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor points his flintlock in the air and shoots his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend, which is often what happened at a duel, by the way. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. He didn't want to kill him either, but he wanted to prove his point that he's still pissed off. Dr. Ladd falls to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786. So it is also in November, so we'll take that 11, but that double 11 will caught my attention. Every tour that comes down here and stops, which he's probably telling the story just on the other side of the wall, tells you to listen for the whistles. Luckily for you, we have 3 video cameras running plus my voice recorder. You don't need to listen yourself. You can listen in the background when you're going through your shit later on. So, I will also tell you for spirit boxes, we get the word whistle, we've had whistling parts of songs, we've had the word doctor, and these are all medicinal terms we're going to get from here all the way over to the next location, because we're going to get that kind of lead over. So just kind of expect that when we're going to the next space. Now, I will tell you that if you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through this alley and turn on the voice recorders from your phone, I can't take you all the way down there because I've been kicked out of there, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute, because that's actually the fun part of the story. And no, we're not going to go down there at all. Nobody. So I know, Matt, your wheels are already spinning like, oh, we're going to go all the way down and see what the hell's going on down there. So, no, we're not going to send that. So, but anyway, I always throw a whistle down here. No, we're not going downstairs. That's an interesting term too. See what else pops up with that. If you're going to try this on your own and listen to that recording later on, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. We all do it. I do it every night, especially when I'm going back to my car, which is we just passed it where I parked my garage. But at any rate, so just kind of keep that in mind. Every local knows the story, so it's not always going to be a legitimate thing. So here's how I got booted out of here. This is the fun part. This alley didn't go all the way through this way. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because they needed to block off where all the livestock was kept. This was called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. So that means that the bricks on the other side have older bricks than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks were sun-dried from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child and fingerprint swipes on those bricks down at the end. And I'd always take my groups down there to show off how far we've come away from slavery. It's all about history for me. I also treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place that you're going to find that kid. Just so you guys know, we're not going to get any activity out of it at all. Now, November 26th of 2020, I told you he's going to try to sneak off down there. So, November 26th, my entire group of 10 is huddled around this one brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen because the kid's not there. I'm also trying to shoot them along because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. So, the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. He obviously filed a complaint, but my daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at in real time. She was on the tour that night, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for decades, mainly for Walmart before I started doing this, and upper management, if you guys get my point. I'm not working Thanksgiving. The next day was November 28th of 2020. I told my group that night, we either have to reroute or, we can only go down halfway. I decided to reroute, but I also told them I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen over there. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. If you haven't picked up, we're talking pirates next. But anyway, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I was like, oh, I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. Like, all right, maybe we'll get something. We get over there, I told them what little bit I did know about piracy at the time. Somebody else hears the number 300, and I don't know what it means in real time. I write it down, research it. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I was like, damn it, now I gotta learn about pirates. Because again, I'm not a pirate person. So my problem with pirates is I have a master's degree in creative writing. Everything needs to be factual for me. Like, I need hardcore data to be able to make sense of something. Pirate stories are based off of pirate lore, which is a problem for me. I've read dozens of books on pirates since then, trying to always make sense of what we discuss at the next location. Because again, pirates, like, you were asking me a lot of questions even about slavery along the way, which you guys are going to hear about later on. There's a lot of reading that goes into this, and I'm boring Stephanie, so we're going to have to move here shortly. I call out every yawn, just so you guys know. You guys have probably been out and about all day, if not working.
Maybe it means something.
Maybe it means something. Love it.
That's dark.
So,
Steph can't hang.
Before we leave, I always explain the gate before we go over and discuss pirates. The gate, keep in mind that the alley didn't go all the way through this way, so in the event there was a loser to a duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down the alley to Queen Street and double back to get up to the cemetery before they could go celebrate with the winner. So that's kind of why this gate evolved. But the wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you can definitely see that the archway was part of the original alley itself. So this alley dates back pretty far. This alley's been a lot of different things. Right now, it's a ghost tour stop. So that's kind of the way it works. Anything that was seen or heard before we go talk about rated R pirates. And nobody got my very bad, punny dad joke. Nothing seen or heard?
Valley Derek? Is there a Derek mean anything?
No. But that's a name I don't normally see on there. That's the only reason why I kind of like, nothing coming up on yours? All right, Chris, you got anything on yours? I know it's hard to focus on me.
It's hard to listen.
Yeah.
With the earbuds.
All right, I say we go learn about crazy pirates. Let's go do this. For those of you with cameras, if you want to keep them on, by all means you can do so. We will be walking, and we're just going around the block, or you can stop them and start them back up again when we get over there. So completely up to you guys. No, it's not. All right, so welcome to, you guys, I'm sure you noticed I just gave all the tours. So I know it gets a little ridiculous and very campy and cheesy, but we're going to be spreading out here once we kind of go and touch through this history real quick and more on our film. But anyway, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like a government small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I know, right? Especially back in those days. So, anyway, right in the middle of this construction is where the history begins. So kind of follow me, there's a few twists in this. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far?
Yep.
The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that they had to leave the country by boat? So again, it's 1708. They land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. Dad is now sending young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. So that's why we're here, the recognizable building. Back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass even back then. They say at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Numerous times we've had the word, like the terms come up of servant, knife, and belly without two other people knowing that the other two terms showed up to get my meaning. So we've seen it several times. Fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne's pretty stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. The first guy that she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a small handful, and we're going to go through every single one of them. That's what makes her story so interesting. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica and got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny, a famous female pirate. James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow, like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, and a coward. This is not who she wants. A few more years go by and she falls in love again. Guy number 2, John Rackham. They call him Calico Jack. This is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who the hell this guy is. Now, Calico Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate ship because it's bad luck. I would normally throw that question out to you guys to make sure you're all paying attention, but I'm here with all men, and I'm sure we don't want to hear all the raunchy answers that we're going to be throwing at us. So, exactly. So,
Give us
he makes
some
a deal
credit.
with her.
Right.
If you die and look like the crew, then you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. Now she's a pirate, but she's a female in Jack's quarters. Let's put two and two together.
I'm pretty sure it's a commercial.
Yeah, she didn't have to worry about that.
No, she didn't.
She might have said that she was because she was a man.
Right.
Or
That's why I'm like,
that's about it.
hopefully not that terrifying.
Oh my God.
My machine had said a word.
Anything on your board?
I think it knows I'm tired.
I got hot.
Did it say HOT?
Yeah.
No letters in between?
No letters in between.
Is that here or over there?
I did reset it. Because it went LOT and now reset it. So I've been resetting it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's almost a reuse. My feet are killing me. I think I might hit that.
Yeah. Circumcision to go work in the field where you were.
I heard a very distinct phrase from a song.
That reminds me. Yep, still zero. Who the fuck is that?
Got the evidence?
So I said I need to
What I can see.
Yeah, man. It's just a radio and scam. Yeah.
Angels. Heard angels.
Yeah.
I did. Bart
I heard communication.
You heard communication?
The words.
Hey, look, man. I haven't even seen anybody's fart. This is bullshit.
Not a single fart. Give me
This
a
is
minute.
bullshit.
Give me a minute. I'll work.
We're not seeing anything.
UP. I guess still says UP. UPT.
It says Uber home now. I don't know what that means.
My pickup spot is like
2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
How far are we?
Um,
Set this thing down and walk.
I don't know.
Anybody else got anything major going on?
Nope.
You're getting like spelled out words on there. We don't get that all the time. Oh, yeah? What was the first one you gave me? Using it right. You have one before that. You had a term before that. Ties. That's ties. Let me write this down.
Bankruptcy is billion.
All right, so you guys
When you go bankruptcy, betting on the Mega Millions?
here's how this is gonna go. First off, I need to keep an eye on your breathing to make sure it starts hyperventilating. So that's a big deal.
Could be a big deal.
Right.
Stinks around here.
Yeah.
Is that us? Or is
Is it what?
That's probably you, Bo.
that us?
When you guys go on there, just keep in mind, I'm only going to keep it under for 10 minutes. That's it.
Repeatedly.
It's not going to feel like 10 minutes for you guys.
Okay.
Most people say that it averages between 2 to 3 minutes, is what they say. In the event that we're going to tap you out, you're going to get a tap on the leg. So it's probably going to be for me. So just expect a quick tap on the leg. I'll go through all the way down. If you're speaking too loud, you're going to get a tap on the shoulder. It'll probably be from somebody else or someone sitting in front of you. And they're not here paying attention.
My body is trying to help lift your arm.
Yeah, I'm not. Over.
Breaking my nails.
All right, buddy, let's crowd around. We're going to get this party started. You guys all missed all those little tips and tricks. Ankles first, then your legs, then those things.
Yeah, make sure you get a good picture.
Damn it, why am I keep losing
Not
my
of
name?
that.
Shane, I'm going to need you to stand behind them because if one of them is speaking too loud, I'm going to have you tap them on the shoulder.
Guess who might be too loud?
It's too big.
On a scale
we're
of
gonna
1 to
crowd
10, I need you to tell me when it's inappropriate.
As soon as you go under, turn up your volumes. Well, first you can't do anything about your volumes because it's already preset. And go ahead and get started. We're only going to keep them under for 10 minutes. It is 11:13. Wait for Chris to put his headphones on. Good. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me at all? Good. Henry Timrod, if you are here, I'd like for you to tell us what your occupation is, please. And it's all going to be on film for you guys to laugh at him later.
Gonna find out.
We're going to find out. So, Henry, we want you to tell us what your occupation is, please. Perfect. Henry, can you tell us what's coming out of the church right now? What sound?
Not your type.
What sound is coming out of the church?
Testament?
I didn't even understand that term. Henry Timrod, what sound did we just hear out of St. Michael?
Karate expert.
None of us are karate experts that I know of.
Okay.
Henry, let's go back to the original question. What was your occupation?
How good they were.
Knife.
What did you do for a living?
Birth.
You did not give birth for a living. Try again, Henry.
Something's going nuts again.
I hear it. Henry, what did we just hear out of the church? I'm only asking 2 questions.
Those 2 things.
Feel free to answer any one of those 2 questions.
No, it's the other way around, so you have to think about it in terms of like. So this is the last
Henry?
word in. So it's actually hello. So it's EXPZ.
Roof.
Now, let's go straight into your wife. Let's try to talk about something.
Roads.
Tell us about your
Love it.
wife.
The
Tell us about your wife. Her name, her maiden
trying to
name.
replace the T.
That would work too.
Right to Pacific.
Seven. Jesus, it's small. Hello.
Henry Timrod.
Yes.
How many people are here with us? How many people, how many spirits
Warrior.
can we not see?
If you're 65.
Henry Timrose. How many people are here with you? That answer is normally 5, by the way, when you've gotten that answer right. Let me know if any words pop up on either
Yes.
places. Henry Timrod, let's go back to your wife. Can you tell us what
49.
Tell us what your wife's name is, please.
4.
4.
More.
Do you know what time it is?
I'm free.
Henry.
Finally, it's easy.
You gotta give us some more details.
I'm gonna get it.
Henry, be very specific. Use those frequencies that we're listening to give us the messages you need.
Every time you cry.
I'm hearing it too in my head. Henry Timron, can you tell us the name of your wife?
Of her name.
Yes, her name. What was her name?
A lot closer together.
Yeah, we normally are a lot tighter. But I need you to tell me the name of your wife.
Radio.
Chinese letters. Don't have time.
He would be the one speaking.
You're in jeopardy.
Henry, apparently only getting messages from one person with the wrong answers. Tell us the name of your wife, please.
One tap away.
It's been about 4.5 minutes. Everybody knows. Again, it doesn't take long.
Home improvement.
Great.
Buy a warranty, right?
You know what happened?
It's about to run out.
Henry, let's get serious here. Let's talk about your son. Do you want us to talk about your son? That's a yes/no question.
And if.
Henry, yes
Find
or
a
no?
way.
Trust. You should trust me. I'm here every damn night. Henry, do you want us to talk about your son? Yes or no?
Discovery.
Humphrey?
Profiteer.
Truth?
Tell us your son's birthday. It's a very specific holiday. What's the holiday where your son was born? What are words coming? Anything going on?
Question.
4.
$500.
Keep your family.
Kid.
It's a challenge.
Family and kids. Like, we can be sensitive about what happened to your son. Just give us his name or his birthday, and we'll know that you're actually here.
Everything's safe. Crispy.
I wanted to say Kalani, that's for me. It's okay.
Henry, give us some.
It appears twice.
Give us some kind of clue about your son.
It's heart-shaped.
We've only got 3 minutes left, Henry. She's asked a lot of questions. Same questions I ask every night.
Pray.
You want to go back to the church? Can you tell us what church you heard the bells from? What church was that?
And it's devastating. Source speaker.
Beach.
11 a.m.
Second time 11 showed up free. Anybody else catch that?
Inventory.
Henry, we're going to wrap this up if you're not going to give us any correct answers. Would you like us to stop this whole session? That's a yes/no answer.
Way out there. In the city.
Henry, you're not giving us a whole lot. I need a yes/no answer, please. want us to stop?
Pain. Now factories.
All right, Henry, I'm gonna wrap this up. Can you tell me good night? 3,
Lots of audio
2, there's lots of audio.
in the bright light.
That's out.